welcome to TalkNRoll with the captain, not the hawk today. So today we are talking to from Health. John, tell us about yourself.
Hi, this is Johnny from Health. The 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 seminal industrial band now from Los Angeles.
You know, I've relatively recently discovered Health. I didn't even know that I knew the band up until relatively recently. Um, Back last year, we went and seen Perturbator in Detroit, and you guys were co-headlining. And my son goes, "Oh, who's opening?" And only thing they had on any of the things that we got was Perturbator. And we get up there, and he sees Health on the thing. He's like, "Dad, you did not tell me that Health is playing." I was like, "I didn't know till we got here, man." And I was like, and then I went and seen you guys, and I was enthralled. You guys killed it. And then I realized, like, shoot, I've been listening to this for a while now and didn't put it together. And so I took him to see that, and then we got to go see you guys again in Columbus when I got to take two of my sons. And now we're already planning to go see you guys in Detroit March of next year, I believe.
Yeah.
So you guys have become well-rounded in my personal mixtape, I guess, what do you want to call it. But you guys had me from the moment you kicked in and the intro to Neon Genesis kicked in. I'm just sitting there like, and I'm not gonna lie, I've been following you on Instagram, and the plug suit is great.
Oh yeah, we're if you join our, I don't know when this is going to air, but if you get on our Discord right now, you can enter to win it. You can enter to win my dirty plug suit from the video. I got it right here in a fucking Ziploc bag, just marinating.
Oh, dude, I just took my youngest son trick or treating. I have the full Spider-Man costume that's the same style, and it's all I can do to get out of it. And everybody wants to like hang out with me, but I have the mask, so it's got these two little tiny holes that you can see out of. It's ridiculously bad.
Well, also you got the gloves. You can't use your phone, you know.
Yep.
And then I don't know about you. You know, you got to wear that. That's a dance belt. You got to put on a thong. I don't know what you guys do, but that's Anime Expo regulations and rules, you know.
I wear my gym underwear, and then I wear the cincher because I am fit, but I'm not Spider-Man fit yet. So.
Spider-Man is fucking cut, you know.
Yeah, I was like, I work my ass off, and all I'm doing is I'm getting bigger, but I'm still got like a bit of a gut, so it is what it is. So where did I'm looking at your Wikipedia, which is I love reading Wikipedias to find out what they actually belong to and stuff like that.
Oh, so someone really has really got to update our Wikipedia, so it's probably a disaster. But yeah.
Was Health really picked out of a name of just common names?
Yeah, so we were into, and I don't know how familiar, we loved all these post-punk bands, you know, from the early like 1981 era, and they always had names like Magazine, like just like a regular ass word, and we're like, oh, we want to be like that, and so we were like, oh, we're gonna be called Medicine, and then we're like, we looked on the internet like, oh, Medicine is a good band from the 90s, and we're like, oh shit, we can't be Medicine, and we're just like, what the fuck name can we get? And then Jake who brought a Medicine because he was working as a medical historian right then. He's like looking at the thing and says health. It's for health. He's like, how about health? And we're like, it's kind of shitty. We'll try that. We'll think of a better one. Man, it has been a long time. We have not thought of a better name.
And the funny part about it is I'm sitting here. My wife got some energy drinks, and they're for health and wellness or something, and it's the exact same font.
Yeah, we used the most common words with the most common font, which is Helvetica. And it's everywhere, and it's written the way we write it. It's just all capitals, and that was a kind of rule too. The only way to work would be all capitals, and if the band sounds right and is presented right, then it could seem kind of futuristic and cold, you know, like the health of an organism, the health of a machine, you know. So it could be cool, and it has these, but you know, it doesn't roll off your tongue. It is not a good band name. We know that, but I don't have a better band name. Still, it's really hard to name a fucking band, you know.
It's ridiculous. I've talked to since we've been doing our other show. We've been interviewing all these bands, and none of them could come up with a name. One guy was like, we just took 2 words, cut it in half, made one name. So they're the only band because it's it's an amalgam of 2 words.
Yeah, so I'm always really impressed when newer bands or more recent bands have really good band names. Like to me, like Boy Harsher, like that is such a good band name. I don't even know what it means. Or like this band that's going on tour, this is called Pixel Grip. I'm like, that's a pretty good band name. You know, like I like those things. So yeah, health. It's a hard one. Our dream was to have a name with 3 syllables, which is why we wanted medicine, like Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin. Like 3 syllables is really nice. But here we are.
Well, it works because, like you said, and especially with your, I've got your shirt. And it says, you will love each other, and it's like that seems like a futuristic propaganda poster.
Definitely.
Health, you will love, and I think that fits.
It
And
is, yeah. It's always been this. It's always been this kind of vaguely sci-fi dystopian. Even when we had a totally different sound, back then our early noise album, noise rock, we saw it as like a Mad Max primitive, future dystopian. And now we're more cyberpunk, and now we're moving into this new album. We're in grimdark territory. We're like Warhammer 40K getting the vibes. With our stuff. I'm not too far. It's not just fucking. It's not fucking bolt thrower or nothing. But you know what I'm saying.
speaking both thrower, but
Yeah.
I'm sort of going through the video games. You worked on, Max Payne 3, which is my son's. Tears is my son's, one of his favorite songs. The one that caught me was Feel Nothing. And when you look at on your Wikipedia, it tells you that you want to keep your lyrics vague.
Well, that's the old. No, that's old
Okay, I was
hell.
going to say,
That's what I'm saying. So that Wikipedia was written, over a decade ago. So our lyrics now, and I don't write the lyrics, Jake does, but they are as direct as can be. We have this very, very, very direct and sort of emotional lyrics now.
Yeah,
And that was the ye olden hell.
yeah, because man, I'll tell you what, Feel Nothing is one of them ones that gets you right. Just it hits you personally on, and I don't know if it hits everybody the way it hit me, but it did. So
Yeah, and that's the thing too. We want to, the song, we write songs for our fans, and we know our fans very well. And yeah, we're not trying to like mince word. Like it should be vague enough that we want you as a listener to take your own meaning. We don't need to be like, this song is about this, and that ruins it for you.
yeah,
You need to be, but it needs to be direct enough, clear enough, to connect emotionally, or to get to that emotion.
yeah,
That's what music's all about, emotion.
yeah. It's all about finding and getting meaning out of it, even if that's not the initial meaning. What your meaning is works for you. So
Of course, yeah, it's a two, it's a collaborative thing, for your own enjoyment. That's what makes it good.
yeah.
It's dorky, but I always think about it as a dungeon, as like a dungeon master and player. Like you make the story together.
Hey, says that as I've got stacks and stacks of D&D books just right here.
Nice.
But do you find that your fandom helps with the music, or do you think it can almost be a hindrance because you kind of go with what you really, I'm trying to word this oddly enough here. You're being an anime fan and being a punk, a cyberpunk fan and stuff like that. Does that really affect your songwriting, or do you just go in no thoughts of what you're doing?
I mean, we keep doing what we've wanted to do, artistically. Like, we got to do a song of this. We got to take our sound here. We got to make this better. We're trying to achieve this, with the production. Like, we got to get this thing. And the fans, I think, make it easier because it's like we're just making the music for them. Anything that got like that helps. Before, there was a long time the band, like, we were really passionate with this music we're making that was hard to slot and hard to promote, hard to get ahead. And it's like, we didn't really know who we were making it for. We were just doing it, So our fan base now, and how vocal and passionate they are, like, making it for them is a great motivator. And we're not changing, our convictions are the same. It's not like we have this classic sound and we veer from it and your fans are bummed. Like, we can go anywhere, shit's all over the place, and our fans are definitely along for the ride,
Yeah, because it's before I went to see you guys in Columbus this year. I was getting ready to leave the shop, and somebody's like, "Who are you going to see?" I was like, "Health," and they're like, "Never heard of them." I was like, "What do they sound like?" I'm like, they're it's like they're synthwave industrial rock, right now. I was like, that's the best I can explain. So I just literally go to YouTube and bring up a video and let somebody watch it. There you go. That's the best way I can explain them to you. So
Yeah, and that's not wrong, you know. Um, so yeah, it's a good thing. It's a blessing and a curse. If to sound different is great, you know, it's novel. You can feel good about it, but it's hard to promote or hard to like grow. Like where it's like, you like this, here's some more of it. You know, so we've always been in kind of a weird slot, but people have caught on now, and we've been really embraced, I think, by people, you know, in all these different communities, whether it be heavy metal, people who are, I guess you'd say, more goth or electronic world, whatever the hell you want. There's all these different, you know, our fan base is sort of this fuck, what is the word I'm looking for? Not consortium, but fucking God damn it, I'm losing words. It's a really normal word too. I'm thinking of, oh, whatever. A coalition
yeah,
of all these different sort of subcultures and fan bases, you know,
yeah.
and they've all been great to us.
So how did you get? Was it a natural progression, or was it a conscious progression on how Health got its sound?
Uh I mean, this whole we've changed so much over the years. A
Yeah,
lot of it has been like very, like, you know, so much of this band is very conceptual. Like we're trying to do this, or like we have this idea and we want to pull it off, or we need to make a song that does this. So it's very thought out, but a lot of it is accidental. It's like, you know, everyone jokes about like, how did we end up here where you're dressed like Asuka in this fucking thing? And I'm like, didn't see that coming. You know, shit like that. You know, it's like, and it's also, we really respond to our fans. Our fans like a focus group. And even from the beginning of the band, like I always go to the merch table, or I usually 90% of the time I just work the merch table every night and I just talk to fans. And that's guided so much for our changing of like who are the most passionate fans and what they're into. And especially when we're in this like completely different scene before, the people who really loved us were from something totally else, and like that kind of told us where you know where we could go. So that's how you end up with the health butt plugs, you know, not where we planning on going, but you go with it. It's like I said, D&D. It's like, hey, the players want to be murder hobos. Like, well, that's the campaign then, you know, you gotta please your players.
well, one of the best things is that you are always at the merge table. I wanted to get that signed, but we had no Sharpie between the two of us when I picked that up. So I really need to start carrying a Sharpie every time I go see a band play from now.
Where we try to keep Sharpies at the front because we always want to sign, and I'm trying to promote. I think because this is, I think for a lot of people who see like a lot of heavy bands, like the thought, like unless you pay a ton of money for this meet and greet, like you don't talk to the guy, like we're like, you're going to see us at the show. We'll sign anything. You can take any meta photos you want. So I think what we might do this next tour, doing the merch on the last tour, it was like too busy. It was like kicking my fucking ass with all the other stuff I have to do. So this tour, I think will be like, I'll come out in the beginning, and after we'll have like a little sign and be like, after the show, come here. You can get and do whatever you want. We got Sharpies.
Because we will definitely meet up in Detroit, which would be awesome. We should get back to Ohio, but it's not that far.
Yeah, I know we will. We had a great show. It's the sort of thing. It's like we were just there, and we're booking some. You know, we're being pretty ambitious and booking some really big venues on this tour, even in certain like markets where you wouldn't do that. So I'm like, we just sold those tickets in Ohio. If we go back with double the size venue, I'm like, we better pull. You know, you're always like, do we pull those tickets out of the market? You know, when you're a band,
Oh yeah,
you always want a show to sell out, or you make a calculated move where it's like, okay, it wouldn't sell out here, but it'll be full and be a good show. And you're always weighing those things, and you definitely don't want a show that's ever undersold or doesn't feel right.
your show in Detroit. I don't think they could pack any more people in that building.
Yeah, I mean that was great because Detroit, we just skipped Detroit, so we're pretty pumped. We're like, wow, things have changed,
Yeah.
and it's a great show.
Yeah, and at the L Club, so the club, uh, and just like I said, finding you guys, discovering your discography and stuff like that. Um, what were your inspirations of how you got to where you're at?
Oh man, I mean that's a long. I mean, obviously, our founding I was into most stuff that probably all were. I mean, I originally got into like punk rock, the Dead Kennedys, Black Flag, and then I grew up with fucking downloading. So you get a PhD in rock and roll pretty fast, and then I went through and I was super into classic rock and prog rock and just kept going. And then I was very much 2000s hipster, super into early post punk, and that's what informed starting the band, and super into like super avant New York bands like X Models, and those are the early influences on the band, like really insane bands like X Models from New York and Liars. And then we've changed over time, and we've always been just really influenced by what's going on. You know, so many health songs in the abstract are influenced by just some random tune that is currently out, or some weird movement electronic music or underground that's going on too. So it's just like a long story, you know, and we're definitely influenced by music the whole time though. No, I don't want to give you some highfalutin answer. It's all music. And and a kind of a way, you know, we were responding to current music at the time when we went converted to being this really electronic band. And then we kept moving that. We're like, in a way, we saw it as heavy music, but it wasn't connecting with the people it's actually made for. So we're like, okay, we have to find a way to add heavy metal guitars in a way that makes sense and isn't stupid to our music. And that's where we started going with Volume 4. And now we're in this comfortable position where it's like, you know what? This whole time, this mechanized rock, like this is industrial music. We could just like, this could be a modern industrial music. All right, let's take, you know, this aesthetic and like, let's inform it with that and take it farther. So like this new album is, I see the most, it's a really put together thing of everything we've done up to this point. It's like, I always see them as the same thing. We're just adding to the vocabulary of what's in the pocket, or like what's in the toolbox of the band, you know?
Yeah.
It's very much a straight line for me, you know?
Yeah. It's you get a new tool to put in your toolbox to help you further your,
yeah. And there's also like, okay, this album's like, all right, we're gonna do all the other stuff we did before. We're gonna add metal guitars. Like, okay, all right, interesting. It's like, this album, what do you do? It's like, you know what? We're gonna add arps because we had this rule we couldn't use any arpeggiators, and it's like, all right, people they want, drink, Wi-Fi'd it. You know, like we used to not have black t-shirts. So like every heavy band has a black t-shirt. You can't have black t-shirts. Like, motherfucker, they want black t-shirts. Give them black t-shirts. You know, just let's lighten up. Just give the people what they want, and that's what we're doing.
As my kid, I'm like, I've got maybe 2 white shirts, maybe a couple red ones. All the rest are black.
Dude, the white ones that get dirty.
Yeah,
I don't want. I mean, I wear all black every day, to express my rage.
I wear all black because it's what I've been wearing since I was 13 years old.
Yeah.
No, with the music, with the new album coming out, do you know who you're taking on tour? You know who you're taking on tour already?
Yeah, so the tour 2024, it's announced, tickets are on sale. We're taking Pixel Grip from Chicago and King Yosef from Portland. Pixel Grip is this really awesome modern, I guess like a modern EBM band. Like they're really catchy songs, really awesome. They have this like really sexy front woman, and like it's just really cool and dark and gothy. And then we're taking King Yosef, who's this he's like industrial metal, you know, and yeah, that's it. It's cool.
Because that last tour, I discovered Author and Punisher because of you guys. And
Author and Punisher's amazing.
Shit,
Amazing.
That was good. And I am amazed at the whole electronic synthwave revolution that's currently going on. I mean, I grew up with 80s horror movies and sci-fi movies, and that was your synth stuff that you got back then. You got a little bit of synth in your new wave and stuff like that. But this, I don't know, revolution that we're slowly getting, and it's irritating because I joke around. My wife has Sirius Radio. I'm like, why is there no synth channel on Sirius Radio?
Yeah, I mean, basically what it is, synthwave. It's just really heavy John Carpenter, you know.
Yeah.
And it's funny because in the we've been in so many different scenes. So we're in the 2000s and later 2000s, early 2010s. Like we were very much in like the hipster scene. It's like what became synthwave happened independently in that scene already on its own, when people were discovering John Carpenter music and putting into this really cool music. And there's this group called Gatekeeper that had like the hottest sound. And it was like, it basically was this, John Carpenter inspired really heavy, low BPM dance music. And there's all this great music that was, Glass Canyon Chromatics is my favorite. And they were doing some John Carpenter inspired stuff. And that was just lived and died already. And it was over by 2012. And then many years later, a totally different group of people, 100% independently, when you get to Perturbator and Carpenter Brood and Hotline Miami, it's like they're making this super heavy, ultra slick, modern sonic, same heavy John Carpenter music. And you're like, what the fuck? I thought this already happened. It's like, this is tight. And it's much, much bigger. And it's also popular with very different people, made by very different people. And like, metalheads love it. All these different people kind of love it, and video gamers love it.
Oh, yeah. It's what's funny is I have a couple friends, huge metalheads, just I am a big metalhead. But they're like, dude, you went and seen Health? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh fuck, you're good. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, I didn't think you'd be, but everybody. I have people from that dig just like your video game music, your, you know, almost pop stuff, down to the really hard black metal and stuff. Love synthwave, and Health is
Yep,
one of the top ones that they're digging right now.
that's
So,
right.
but so gotta ask, you're out there rocking the plug suit
Hmm.
uh at the what, Anime Expo.
There's two cons. So I'm at Anime Expo and I'm at Dragon Con in Atlanta.
Yeah. And oh my god, that I could imagine. I've been to Dragon Con.
Oh,
um
Dragon Con is so tight. That's kind of my favorite because it's just like it's like the party is number one. All the other convention shit, that's like a backseat. Like the main event of Dragon Con is like, hey, you want to fucking party right now? You want to dress up and fucking like let's do this shit. It's in the South. They don't give a oh, so cool. I'm coming back like immediately. This is the tightest shit.
I went years ago. Ended up, I go down there with one of my best friends. um and we get there and he's tired. I'm wide awake because I think I slept maybe 4 hours the entire weekend. And next thing you know, I'm just going from room to room, partying and drinking and everything else like that. And I'm like, oh man, I am so messed up. And the worst, one of the funniest parts is I end up starting the night hanging out with Boba Fett, Chewbacca, and R2D2 in the hotel bar.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking hilarious. Also, everyone there, you'll be like, hey, Wolverine, like give me a drink.
Yeah.
And as soon as I don't know, like also they got all the parties in the conference rooms. Like went to the rave. We're at the rave till like 5-6 a.m. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. And they had like a chorus of like they had all the cosplay babes, and they had this jacked dude, and he was super ripped. He's just fucking flexing up there, and then he would change. He was started as Sub-Zero, then he came back as Sagat, and then he came back because I forgot what the third one was. And he's just like, oh, and I was like, oh, this is fucking amazing.
The last last time I got to go there, I had press passes because I had, of all things, a public access television show at the time.
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't remember those. And I end up hanging out with a bunch of the cast of Buffy the Vampire Slayer that year.
Amazing.
And my wife's like, wants to go back, but I hate to say this, is like so damn expensive.
Yeah. Also, it's very crowded because we went to the whole thing, and once the weekend days hit, I was like, oh, let's go buy some. I want to buy some stuff to bring home. I want to get like some funny stuff. And like you can't get in. I'm like, I'm not gonna wait an hour and a half to get into the fucking like shopping center area. Like I don't give a shit. Like I'll be fine. I don't need to buy a fucking body pillow.
So is Neon Genesis your go-to anime?
It is for the fans. I mean, like my favorite anime all the time is Akira, and that's I saw that very, very young, very close to when it came out, and that was the original anime explosion in the US, and I was a little kid for it, and it was really exciting, and I was really into anime for a short time then, and I started getting into more and more manga and stuff, but I had this issue where I was like, I've told this story before, but I just kept trying to find what was the next Akira, what's the next Akira, and I kept trying to go, and some things are close, and there's some things are really good, but like I couldn't find that Akira, and then I kind of slowly drifted away. And with my fans, we were online, and they're just like, John, have you seen the Injustice of Evangelion? I'm like, I've heard the name. I remember when it came out. Like, I've never seen it. They're like, you got to watch it. Like, you're gonna love it. And I'm like, well, I keep seeing these fucking memes. Like, these memes are amazing. Like, I feel like I gotta see this thing. They're like, dude, you gotta see it. I'm like, I really like this red-haired girl. Like, what's the deal? It's like, oh, you gotta watch it. So I watch it. I'm like, dude, this is awesome. So I really love it, and it just kind of just kept going. And like a lot, like all these things are all kind of accidental. It's like just posting these memes. All the fans are really into it. I watched it. I got really into it, and it just sort of keeps growing to some point where it's like, oh, I bet everyone probably really like it if I put on the Oscar costume. Or it's like they really like it if you put on the Oscar. So just stuff like that. These are they're all incremental. It's not very planned. It's very organic. It's very natural. Nothing is very forced. And if it was, it'd be really weird. So no one to think of this shit. And that's why I like to use the Dungeons & Dragons example. The players do something, DM does something, and it just next thing you know, you got this ridiculous or totally new adventure that you just came up with out of your ass that was never planned.
Have you ever met the voice actress for Asuka?
No, but I watched the Japanese one. However, the voice actor for Shinji, American, he's a fan. He hit us up because I posted some goofy meme where he's like, I like to get kicked in the balls. He's like, dude, he's like, I actually do the voice. I'll do whatever stupid meme you guys want. I'm like, damn, we didn't even make this meme. I mean, we just found it,
Crap. See, I met her years ago at a big anime convention here in Ohio. And this is gonna tell you how long ago this is. I have my VHS tape copy of the volume 1 of Neon Genesis signed, and then I have Sorcerer Hunters because she did the voice of 2 of the
Those
characters.
are the English dub though, yeah.
Yep, the English dub, yeah.
Okay, so I try now. Akira's different because I grew up on the dub on Akira,
Mhm.
and that's like I can't watch it any way. It's like this. It's just really in this thing, and because the voice is Leonardo, it was like really emotional to me as a kid. It's like I can't. I try to watch it in Japanese. It's like a different movie to me. But everything else I've always watched in in Japanese. So
See, I'm a sub guy for the most part. There's just some of them that when I discovered them, the only way you could get them in America at that point was
because I would get them all for Blockbuster Video. We're sorry, guys, we're really dating ourselves here. I fucking worked at Blockbuster.
I was a manager at Hollywood Video.
Oh, dude, I remember Hollywood. Yeah. That was I used to, you'd go those Friday nights were great though, man. You'd go with your friends and like it was rammed and shit would be checking out. So you had to choose something and they would run out and you have to find something or you just rent Tommy Boy again. Just this old ass movie.
Oh yeah. Dude, there were people there that would stand at the counter waiting for the movie to get returned.
Yeah.
So they could hurry up and rent it. It's like,
it was fucking great, man. It's great times.
One second there. I can see it from here. Boom.
Oh, nice. Great fucking soundtrack.
Yeah, I don't have it on Laserdisc, but I do have the original VHS tape. I have
that, yeah.
I
still have it actually. I still have it in my house somewhere. I kept it.
I got the collector steelbook DVD, and then I have a Blu-ray. And
so I had because I went to San Diego Comic Con's a real big deal, and I've been as a kid, and like I just bought an Akira shirt, and I wore it to school, and everyone's like, "What the fuck?" It was this whole thing. There's like this fucking weird shirt, and everyone's like, "What is that stupid shit?" I'm like, "Dude, it's the tightest thing in the world." Like, no idea. And I was super proud of myself, and all these photos. I got my fucking Akira shirt. I wish I could. I should buy it again. It's the same one as the Tetsuo with the arm. The cape was fucking so tight.
See, I had the Kaneda walking towards the bike.
Yeah.
The one that everybody has, but I got real lucky. We had a art house theater not far from where I live, and about once a month they would have anime nights. This is 3 movies usually, and you get them on like a Friday or Saturday night. And I got to see Akira, Vampire Hunter D, and Ghost in the Shell.
Nice
on the big screen, and I'm like,
it's really cool when you can see an older great movie for the first time on the big screen. There's a Beverly in LA that lets you do that, and like so many classic films I got to see just for the first time on the big screen. So it's really amazing, I think. But sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're all good. I being out in LA and stuff like it, does that give you that's gonna be huge out there. I mean, there's so much going on at all the time with the conventions and
there is, but you don't have to do any of it. I mean, like you can just stay home too. Also, I live on the east side. Like I do not go to the west side. Now, all this convention shit like that's always gonna be on the east side. It's gonna be downtown or wherever. I mean, for me, music is my main scene. Like, I'm like, God damn it, I gotta go to another fucking show. It's like right now, I'm like double booked for these 2 shows I gotta go to, and I'm just like, I don't know if I want to do this right now.
What's 2 shows you gotta go to tonight?
So I'm double booked. I got Holy Fawn and Callous Cowboys, and I'm supposed to go eat dinner, so with someone else too. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna. I got a triple booking situation right now.
Man, so yeah, that's like tonight. You got me, and I was like, oh, I'm taking my kid trick or treating. I'm like, I'm gonna get this finally.
Oh yeah, no, I hope I didn't cut your kid's trick or treating short.
No, he was getting done, getting worn out. I'm not.
Wait, so it's not Halloween though. Why you guys trick or treating?
They trick or treat the Thursday before Halloween in my hometown.
Oh, it's just a thing.
Just always the Thursday before. Yep.
Okay.
And to be honest, it was getting dark enough that I could not see out that Spider-Man mask anymore. So
nice. So me growing up, it was always on Halloween night, but it was always totally pitch black. We never trick during the day.
It's bad is that I legitimately bought a house about 3 blocks away from the house I grew up in. Not on purpose. It was just I was wanting to buy a house, found a house that I really liked.
Is that surreal? Like when I have reoccurring dreams, I'm in my childhood neighborhood.
And it's funny because I run into a couple people that I used to go to school with, And they're like, oh, we're out here in Minnesota, we're over here in Wisconsin, we're over here in Florida, we're out here in California. And they're like, where do you live, Paul? It's like 3 blocks from the house I grew up in.
So my older brother is in my childhood home. Now they're remodeling right now, but for me, I'm like, if that happened to me, I would have this like a weird like I was like, what's some movie or something? I'm like, did anything happen? Where am I? What year is it? They all fuck me up.
I was this close to buying the house I grew up in. And it
Yeah.
fell through last minute because they weren't going to do the work, and the loan people was wanting them to make changes, and it ended up being a bit debacle. But it's just the way things go.
Yeah. Oh, where are you in? You're in
Ohio.
Where in Ohio?
Piqua, Ohio.
Piqua?
Piqua.
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 I'm sure it's wonderful.
Yes, it's the we live on the what do they call it? The heroin highway, because we're right off of 70 and near the 70-75 interchange.
Okay.
Of all places, because it's so bad.
I've heard that is actually a problem in Ohio.
Yeah, it's ridiculously bad.
Okay.
And I'm hoping, I know it's bad, but in next week we're voting to legalize weed. So I'm hoping that will make things better.
I hope so. I don't know if I'm not sure if there's a weed and heroin pipeline. I think they're pretty separate.
Well, no, I'm saying is that so many people, if they had easy access to just like go down the street and go buy weed, that the chances of them buying heroin instead goes down.
Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah, because maybe I think there's like, what was it called? Cheese heroin. There was like this stuff that was so cheap, like people were just randomly like, oh, I'll give that a shot. Like, oh god, I'm addicted.
Oh yeah.
Kids, like, never touch the heroin. You can do anything else. You can do all the bad drugs, just never. Like, watch any rock documentary. Never touch the heroin.
No,
don't even look at it.
It's like was it crocodile or crocodile?
Crocodile, yeah. Well,
yeah.
If that shows up, you're doing real bad.
Yeah, heroin mixed with like kerosene or something like that.
Well, it's a drug. If you start doing it, there's like, you'll be dead within 3 years. I'm like, that means you don't give a fuck.
That means you just want to be high, and that's
or you just want to die. Like, it's so hopeless, and that's just so depressing. Yeah, I watched that documentary. I was like, this is horrible.
I watched a documentary on that a while back, and you're just like, what would get you to that point? Some people. So, so we were talking before we started recording today. We were talking about the X-Men cabinet back there, and I got. Do you still read X-Men?
No, not at all. I'm for me is Jim Lee's X-Men, X-Men Saturday morning cartoons. For me, the X-Men is the 90s. I love that video game though. I'm not sure when that came out. I love the look of that one too. But man, like if someone let me direct a movie of the X-Men, like the studio's like, John, you're in charge. Direct, make an X-Men movie. It's like, it would be 90s X-Men, Jim Lee X-Men, look exactly like that. Rogue would have a mullet. That would be it. And it would be Sentinels. I don't know why they just do Sentinels as a movie.
Because we got the Sentinels, but it took 5 movies.
They did. I gotta tell you the truth. So I saw the X-Men, the 98 X-Men in the theater, and I was like, hey, that was pretty good. And the second one, I was like, hey, that was pretty good. And then after that point, I was like, I'm not gonna keep watching these.
Yeah, the third one, not so good. But when they brought them back, Days of Future Past is good again.
I'm so, it's this thing where it's like, I used to love comic books and superheroes. Like, I think they're fucking lame. Like, I don't even like them anymore. I'm just like, you could just like, it's just too much. And then like, I used to be obsessed with Star Wars. I fucking hate Star Wars. Like, I don't even think it's cool. I don't even like it. It used to be my favorite thing in the world. And I see it, I'm just like, ugh. Like, it's just like, you can fuck people up. You can ruin franchises. You can run things in the ground, and there's definitely some fatigue. Though I mean, if they made a brand new X-Men movie and it was just 90s and just really cool, obviously I would go see it. And but I couldn't even care. And then obviously, I almost watched the new Batman. I love some Batman. I love the Nolan Batman. I'm thinking about it. I might watch it. I love, what's his name? Robert Pattinson. Yeah.
I was actually shocked at how good that was.
All right, I'll watch it. I was like, why is this movie so long?
Yeah. It is way too fucking long.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with these movies these days. But yeah, I'll see it. I just need 3 people to tell me it's good, and 3 people didn't tell me it was good, but I'll give it a shot.
See, I made a mistake of I listened to my son tell me movies were good, my oldest. I'm like, dude, you got bad taste in movies.
Well, it's not your son's fault, because there's been Dogashita just nonstop. for I don't know, a decade, 2 decades. Goddamn, like there's definitely less good movies coming out these days.
But then when you get to sneak a good one in, you're like, oh, yeah.
Oppenheimer blew my dick off. Brilliant movie.
I still haven't watched it yet.
Dude, you gotta watch it in the theater. That's the greatest sound design I've ever experienced. It's like shocking.
It's we were talking about that because when Dune came out with the Hans Zimmer score, you're just like it just blows you out of your seat listening to that score. It's like,
Yeah, I love that hyper modern, just like ultra compressed, like sounds really great.
So I know you score video games and you do music for video games. Would you do movies?
We'd absolutely love to. It just it's this thing where we've tried to get film scoring agents. Obviously, our main thing is the band, and that takes a lot of time. And we're trying to be a band primarily; it's more fun. But of course, we want to score, and we'd really love to score a movie. But like, we were flirting with having have a film agent, and we're like, hey guys, like we've scored a video game that's like budget of like over $100 million. It's like, what's up? And they're like, hey guys, I know it's great, but that does nothing for us. Like that means zero in the film world. You have to have film credits. It doesn't matter how big it is. I'm like, God damn, we were for Rockstar Games. So it's like we're below zero starting there. So we'd still like to. And I have a lot of friends now who used to be like avant-garde musicians from the scene who are older now, and they all do Netflix shows and they do very well, drive nice cars. So we'd love to get there. But for me personally, though, for the way culture is right now, unless we could work with some amazing director that I really love, I would much rather do another like big game, a really great video game. Love to do something very narrative or some kind of RPG that's kind of futuristic. That would be great to think. I have another Max Payne sort of experience again. That'd be great. Also, because we're just so much more skilled at what we do. We could do so much. We'd really like to do it.
Well, you get Max Payne 3, and you're not connected to the horrible Max Payne movie. So
yeah, there was this moment when we started with them. We're like, because I called my buddy. I'm like, give me your PS2. Like, I'm gonna play all the games in a row. I'll play 1 and 2. Like, I want to know everything about Max Payne. Listen to all the soundtracks, and I was like, guys, should I see the movie? And Rush was like, fuck no, don't watch that piece of shit.
I technically think I own it. Literally because it was
so I heard
to
the
me.
story. I don't know if this is true, but this is the anecdote I heard, that the guys who made the movie went into the offices and like, hey guys, you guys are the game company. We want to show you the movie. And they put it on for everyone. And it was like 5 minutes in, the whole staff just got up. They're like, this is a piece of shit. And they just walked out. I don't know. I don't know if that's true, but I heard that anecdote. It cracks me up.
That would be so great if it was true. I could definitely see it being true because it's not good in any way.
I've heard it's just fucking que horrible,
It's so batshit crazy. It's weird. It's I don't, and I like weird movies. I'm not gonna lie. I love crazy weird movies, but that one you're just like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And it's supposed to be making sense. I watch movies that I know don't make sense that are made to not make sense. But that one is attempting to make sense and not catching on anything at any moment, at any time. So I gotta ask. So when did you get into music? When did you pick up your like first instrument or your
Well, I had I listened to music like my parents and stuff, but I didn't really care about anything. I wasn't passionate about it anyway. I liked song here or there, but didn't really care. And then I think when I was about 12, I had a friend who's 2 years older, and he dubbed a cassette tape and sent it to me. And he's like, hey, you got to listen to this. And one half was Dead Kennedys and one half was Sonic Youth. And I put it in, and I was like, what is this? I was listening to Dead Kennedys, and I tried to listen to Sonic Youth. I couldn't get the Sonic Youth at all. Put the Dead Kennedys, and like, I didn't get it, but I could feel my blood pressure just going up. I just felt like just crazy energy just raising my body. I'm just like, what is this? This is kind of amazing. And I just kept listening to it. And I'm like, and then I had this fucking moment where like, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard. This feeling is fucking crazy. I feel amazing. I feel nuts. I want to run and smash shit. And then I was like, this is music. I love music. I want to get into this. And so kind of started doing it. And then I think a few years later, it was like, oh, what if we made a band? And like, I didn't even know how bands worked. And we're like, yeah, we could make a band. And that same friend gave me this really shitty guitar with no amp. I was trying to learn it. I'm terrible at this shit. And I was like, oh yeah, let's make a band. I'll play guitar. And then I was kind of meeting. I was like, every Nobody plays guitar. There's like 500 guitar players. And then I'm like, we know one kid is a drummer. I'm like, if I just play bass, we have a band right now. Well, I'll just play bass. And then my cousin at that time randomly he just calls me. He's like, hey, John, do you play bass? I was like, no. He's like, do you want a bass and an amp? I was like, absolutely. And he just drove it over and he just handed me this shitty bass and amp. I'm like, I'm a bass player now. And like next day I was like, we got a band. And that was it. They were in high school. So we had a band in high school. Weren't that great. It's really dorky. We were called Blood Meridian after the Cormac McCarthy book. And that was it. And then I think I wasn't planning on doing music. I was in LA. I was like in this fly-by-night film school. And I didn't go to college. And I was like, the scene in LA was so awesome. The smell and Il Corral, this like really avant-garde noise scene that was just so weird, and all these bands I really loved. And I was super into. And I was like, man, I got to be part of this just for this moment in time. I need to like make a band and get into the scene, find my way in. And then I met the guy. I met Jake, who's the singer. I met him at Guitar Center, and they want to make a band. They had no idea what was going on the scene. I'm like, well, hey guys, we got to join the scene. I want to make like this kind of band. And we kind of came together and do it and started doing that. And then what we didn't expect is that we started getting attention, and we got all these crazy, opportunities. We got the record label, we had to sing Chris Castles, and then we got to go on tour. We got booked on all this stuff happened, which is like, making any sort of art or music, it's kind of a lottery. You are incredibly fortunate if anything happens, even at the lowest level. If anything happens, it's fucking crazy. So I was like, hey, sun shines on a dog's ass. I must be very lucky for this to be happening. Like I'm gonna keep going with this, And now there's probably tons of moments we should have quit, but you get a taste of it and you always want more, and it becomes your life. And now we're just too far gone. Like we're pot committed. Like I'm not going to re-enter the job market right now. So thank God things are going well right now.
There you go.
So and it just kind of kept going from there.
Well, that's cool. I mean, and the best part about it is the next question was I'm always love to find out people's first band's name, but you named Blood Meridian.
Yeah.
And mine is god awful. It was No Fate.
No
Because
Fate.
I was watching Terminator when we came up with a band.
That's not so bad. No Fate. I mean, that could be a synthwave band.
Yeah. And then my second band was Wormhole.
Wormhole.
Because I was playing World of Darkness at the time, and the werewolves have to deal with the worm, and I'm like, Wormhole, yeah, with a Y. So we're gonna be different.
Wormhole, yeah.
Wormhole.
Yeah, Wormhole is a dragon's asshole. That's what it is.
Yes, it's what our band sounded like. Now we were my guitar player. I was the bass player. My guitar player was I was a metal thrash guy. He was a punk. Mm-hmm. And our drummer was a like classic rock prog guy. Mm-hmm. And so our music was bullshit nonsensical. we're artists now, man. And we're like, nah, this sucks.
It doesn't. I don't know. Just playing in a band is so fun, and that's the kind of thing about music versus other arts. Like, if you just make a punk band and just play some shows, like that's pretty great, and like that feels as great as a lot of things that are a lot higher on the totem pole, or like. You can feel just as amazing selling out a 200 cap venue as you can selling out like a 700 cap venue or whatever, or like 1,000 cap, or like you can have such an amazing experience just playing to X amount of people, and you don't have to be that successful. So that's what's so amazing about music. Like, so if people want to do music, just do it for a few years and quit. Just don't keep going. Don't be like me. But, you can run the gamut of fun things to experience with some whatever band that only runs for 3 years.
Get out there, get it. Do it, have fun.
Just get it over with. Get it out of your system.
Knock it out of your system.
Yeah, and then get a good job. Don't be an idiot.
So you went to film school. What kind of films were you trying to make when you were in film school?
Oh, it's fucking art film, man. I mean, I'm some highbrow shit. I don't know. I wanted to make. I think all of us, every nerd has a fantasy of like their epic, their trilogy, and of course I had that. But I also wanted to make just like straight up. Art film, just good movies, quote unquote good movies, or like you adapt this book and you make a really highbrow film. Very very highbrow ambitions, I would say.
I'm going the exact opposite. I'm literally supposed to be directing a movie like right now.
Really?
And I was doing an interview with a producer / director. We were talking about a movie that he had just done. And I was like, man, I wish he would have done that, because he did a movie called Nun Dead. Mm-hmm. And it's all these evil nuns is the only thing that you have to have for this anthology film. I was like, dude, I was like, if I could have done a nun movie, I was like, I'd have an evil nun with a nunchuck made of
Yep.
rulers. So it'd be a nunchuck. And he's like, that's great. And then he's sitting there talking, we're talking. He's, well, you're working on my new movie, right? And I went, what? And he goes, and I got the funding for it. I had
Oh,
everything
really, dude?
for
You
it.
got to do it then. That's
And
amazing.
then the thing is, I can't keep actors. They keep bouncing on me left and right. And
You
I'm
know,
like,
well, it's very hard because you're literally in Ohio. You
yeah.
know,
But Ohio has a big indie film scene,
it
huge
does.
indie film scene.
What?
Yes.
Oh,
We
wow.
have oh shit. I know this is bad. If you go on Tubi right now,
Mm-hmm.
you can look up a couple names and it will start linking you. It'll rabbit hole you to other people. Um my friend Sean did a movie called Don't Fuck in the Woods
Uh-huh.
and it blew up. It's was one of the
Wow.
top streaming on Vudu when it dropped, and now it's one of the top streamings on
Yeah, that's one thing that kind of makes me sad. Obviously, it'd be such a hard grind. But if I was still in the film sort of zone, because I worked in television for a minute too after school and stuff like that. But like it's such Wild West right now. Like this would have been a really fun time if I had been, making whatever, working in the industry this whole time, honing skills. Like it'd be a hilarious time for me to be like, just, with streaming, you can just make some fucking movie. Like it's like all this sort of stuff I kind of dreamed of when I was younger.
Oh yeah, it's now thinking of that. Do you? Because we've been doing interviews with all these bands and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And now everything is instant. You don't have to wait for an album to drop. You don't have to wait for a tour. You got some of these bands that keep releasing singles like once a month so they can keep the people till their next album drops.
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel about that?
Well, you just the sign of the times. I mean, like we still have made an album. This new album's coming out December 7th, Route Wars. It's an album. We are like song go into song, very carefully curated, but we are aware, we talk to our youngest and most fervent fans and they've never listened to a Health album sequence and they're never going to. That's just the name of the game. So who am I to judge? But we have been, one thing we've started, we release music a lot more. We also put out, 4 times as much music as we used to, but in a good way. I think we're just also I'd say that the times are working for us, but there are negatives, there are positives. We take one thing we like to do is like, we like to do these collabs and we do like to drip the songs out. There's kind of a weird thing where it's like the anticipation of the record, once the record comes out, like the moment's over. So it is better to drip out songs. So, we're dropping half the record as singles before the record comes out, which is normally would be a lot. You would do 1 to 2 to 3 in the old days because you don't want to spoil the record. But if your fans are going to listen to the record in sequence, then it's probably better.
Now, see, I pop a record on the record player while I'm editing or working on the shows, and I just no, I got to keep it in sequence. I got.
Oh, I love. I mean, that's what I fell in love with. I love the album, and we'll always make albums no matter what, and that's what we like to do. These, like these disco records. They're like compilations basically, but that lets us do the stuff that's looser, like these collabs, and then turn it into an album. So there's still an official album. I just like things organized. I used to have that fucking CD Logic thing, and I painstakingly, even if I was burning CDs, I'd do artwork and list. It's like this thing. I like things organized like that.
Well, as I've told people, it's like it's so much cooler to be able to go over here, grab this, look at everything, look at the interior and all that stuff like that, rather than to look at the little tiny picture that pops up on your phone. So you can like try to read the lyrics, and then of course I'm old now, so I'm like,
Yeah, and that's the thing, like in the the 60s or whatever, you just buy the record and you'd go home and you put it on, you just sit in front of the fucking stereo. You don't have anything else to do, and you just look at the artwork, and that's brilliant. But as time and technology goes on, and Malcolm McLaren said this, the Sex Pistols, Sven, he was just like, once the Walkman came out, he's like, dude, this is just gonna keep going. It's gonna get more and more disposable. Just that you're able to walk with it. That you wouldn't have to just go home and put it on as like this ritual, or like you're only in the car. You can only get the radio. And yeah, it's instantaneous. It definitely devalues it.
yeah.
But the cool thing is any underground band can be heard immediately, which is all those punk bands in the 80s were just dying just so anyone's even to get their music.
I bought a huge record collection. Oh, geez, 2 years ago now, and the guy was a massive punk fan. So I had all these 45s, the 7 inches. I had vinyl, and I kept some of it. not gonna lie, but I do have to keep my store open, so I do need to sell. And now my youngest son has discovered punk. Now he's listening to Black Flag. He's listening to the Ramones. He's listening to the Misfits. He's listening to the Germs. I'm like,
yeah, all classics, all my favorites growing up. Yeah,
yeah,
and they're
so,
evergreen. You know, you just have to hear them when you're young.
yeah.
After a certain age, you cannot get into Black Flag. It won't work. You'll be like, this is terrible. But if you're young enough, oh, it's the most brilliant music. It's
Well,
so magical, and it'll hook anyone.
yeah. Well, they tell everybody that your music tastes are locked in by the time you're like 14. I'm like, that's bullshit. I was like, I'm
No, that's actually
discovering.
not true. I found some of my most cherished bands in my 20s, actually, like way past that magical zone, you know, blues, whatever.
Dude, I'm
Yeah.
I'm almost 50 and I'm still discovering new bands.
Yeah.
So I know you've got stuff going on, but I got a couple more questions real quick. Favorite collaboration you've done so far, if you have one.
Well, I like them all. I gotta look at a thing. I'm very proud of all the collabs. I think they're all quite good. I don't know, man.
Don't have a favorite.
I'm
See,
sorry.
say it, don't have a favorite.
That's a bad answer.
So okay. So the other question is I usually ask what are you listening to right now?
Right now, why looking for you? I've got my actually, for anyone listening, I have a playlist on Spotify you can check out called Johnny's Top 40 2023, and I put whatever I'm listening to that I don't like hate, I put on there. The new Sierra album, listening to that, listening to Pexel Grip, their new single, Callous Boys, the Barbie soundtrack. I really like this guy Revizia from Russia. He does this like hard EBSM. I was listening to Sleep Token because we're about to go on tour with them. There's a great Burial single. Listening to Knock Loose. It's very heavy. And probably my favorite thing this year is Riff Raff put out these 2 singles that are just amazing. Oh, and I Want a Ferrari. But listening to there's this really crazy avant-garde music out of Brazil right now. I think it's like the latest incarnation of Brazil funk, but it's like, I don't know what it is, so next level. It is mixed so wrong. It is totally avant-garde and genius, and it's really hard to explain. It's just like it's like a black dice drop. And there's tons of music like this, but check out this song called Set Da GM, and it'll like your hat will fly off your head. You know, you'll be like, what? Like your monocle will smash, and it's fucking really cool.
Well, that's cool. I'm gonna have to look it up when I go to edit because when I get done with this, I'm gonna go eat for the first time today, and then I'm gonna edit. And then, with the new album coming out, you said December 7th.
December 7th. Yep.
December 7th. What else? And tour starts.
We're going to go on a tour supporting Sleep Token this December, and our album comes out during that tour, and we're going to do some special appearances too, like doing a one-off show in the Netherlands, like a special small show in London, and I'm going to do a DJ set in Paris, like all these like little sort of like fun little things like that.
And I'm going to put all the connections to your socials and stuff at the end of the episode so people can find you. And I guess since we answered the one question, my last question is what do you say to people wanting to get into music now? And you're like, go 3 years.
You know, people ask this question, and my answer is like, don't. But I'm joking. But I would say, you know, the old rules don't work. You know, most advice I would give you is so comically outdated. You know, and what's cool now is like, you know, you can start and control everything yourself through social media, through online. You can get discovered that way. You can blow up that way in ways you couldn't do. So like, you can do it. You know, it's never been easier to make it. It's obviously, yes, it's very rare. You know, it's a tough road, but you can do it, or you can just do it for 3 years and have a fucking blast. So I definitely wouldn't if you really love it, yeah, fucking why not? But what is amazing now is like, you can break yourself and you do not need a record label. There's no thing you're going to jump on now where it just like takes that next step, and like you can basically create almost all your opportunities yourself on a certain level, you know? So you could scheme on the internet, make your stuff, come up with a really cool concept and just promote it. And like, you could make it pop that way, like, you know, which is pretty nuts.
Yep. It's weird seeing these bands because we were telling other people, I was like, I wouldn't bother with a record label, man. Go do it yourself. There's so many of these bands that are blowing up now that never
Yeah,
had a record.
and they're huge, or just look at all the people who just make, whether they're streamers or YouTube, whatever. They're just like, they don't even have management, whatever, and it's like the money goes directly to you. I mean, like, that's the thing. What's crazy is like, you could start, if you're an artist and just had like a Patreon, you could out earn like 80% of musicians just doing okay. And so that's why I can't like really discourage anyone from doing it. It's like, if you are, now that's a wholly different thing. That's not the way it's supposed to work. In the old days, you got like 4 fucking drug addicts who had this weird talent, and you'd like move them around and get them a record deal and get them to make a record and play this record and they get big. But if you're like a savvy kid, you can create all your own content. You can film it on a fucking iPhone. No one really cares about you having nice lighting. Like, it's just all there, and you could promote the shit to yourself. And if you're some good looking person, dresses cool, like, fuck, you could just blow up. I don't know, like people want to know you. Like, it could just happen. So it is really crazy. Like, the TikTok effect too. People go from 0 to like 10,000 overnight. So who am I? Who are you to resist?
Who are we to decide?
Yeah. The computer decides.
I gotta say thank you so very much. I never thought in a million years you'd say yes to an interview.
Oh yeah, I say yes to everything. So yeah.
Yeah. So and hopefully I will see you. Fingers crossed, nothing bad happens. I will see you in Detroit.
Cool. Let's come say hi.
And I should have two of my kids with me. So nice. I say that my kids are adults, so it's whatever. But yeah, I gotta say thank you. Your music is kicks ass. I listen to at least a couple songs probably every day. I definitely listen to it while I'm at the gym. But yeah, thank you so very much. And I greatly appreciate it. But I'm going to end this here technically, and I got like one question I want to ask.
Sure.
Later, but we'll cut it here.
Okay.
So the number that's on your t-shirts, what is the phone number that's on your t-shirts?
Goes right here.
Your real phone? So
it's just, the old number is a Google Voice that goes directly to my phone. The new number is a text only that goes to this program on my computer and my phone. So depending on which shirt, if you have an older shirt, if it's the 213, I think it's 2459 or 259. I can't remember the number right now.
Hold on.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the older number. So that goes directly to my cell phone.
Okay.
So that's kind of thing, like, you're like, oh, well, you say yes. It's like, I'm the most available man in rock and roll. You can call me directly anytime, and you can text me anytime. It's the numbers. It goes directly to my cell phone.
Yeah. Because my son's got one your other shirt with the wolf-headed warrior on the front, and then I got the Heaven and Hell t-shirt, the Perturbator.
Yeah.
That's and I kept seeing this phone number, and I'm like, some of them numbers they tell you to go to like their merch line or something like that.
No, it's a direct line. I came up from a DIY sort of punk thing, and I was always kind of tickled that you could talk to the musician. And so, also people look for connection and the parasocial relationships. So I'm like, parasocial, I'll just be social. You can fucking call me. Like, like, I'm here, dude.
But thank you, sir, so very much. I can't wait to see you again, and hopefully this time I will remember Sharpie.
And we'll have them. But yeah, but bring them just in case. You gotta bring the silver or gold ones because they're always dark covers.
Yeah, and but yep, I'll get that, and we'll see you then. And take care, and go see Callous Dowboys.
All right, awesome. Thanks, dude. I'll see you
later. Bye.